No, Emma. You're not going. David's voice was so firm the whole room froze. Emma stopped by the front door, already dressed in jeans and a light jacket. Her phone was in her hand, impatience burning in her eyes. Dad, it is just a campus party, she said, taking a step toward him. My friends will be there. It is safe. I said no. End of discussion. He delivered it like a final verdict. Steel in his gaze, jaw clenched tight. That was how he ruled his family. And that was exactly what infuriated Emma. You re-suffocating me. She burst out. I'm not a little girl anymore. David jumped up from his chair, his figure blocking the doorway. As long as you live under my roof, you follow my rules. I know what happens at those parties. I've been there, Emma. I know what they want. Her lips pressed tight, chin lifted in defiance. Her eyes burned with a mix of anger and desperation. Lisa, who had been standing on the sidelines, stepped forward. She knew this moment too well. Just a spark more and the house would erupt. David, she said quietly but firmly. Stop. She has grown. She is 19. UCA not lock her away. I have to, he snapped. Because no one else will protect her but me. That is not true. Emma shouted back. You just afraid I'll start living my own life. The word struck him harder than a slap. For a split second, pain flickered in his eyes, but rage quickly smothered it. You'll live your own life later, he said coldly. Right now, you my daughter, and you staying home. Emma spun around and slammed her bedroom door so hard the walls shook. The house fell into heavy silence. David stood in the hallway, fists clenched. Lisa gently touched his shoulder. You're going too far, she said softly. She is growing up. You have to accept it. She'll always be a child to me, he answered, voice low and hollow. The words sounded like a sentence. He did not realize the harder he pulled his daughter close, the faster she slipped away. The next day the air in the house was still charged with tension. Emma sat at the kitchen table, staring at her phone. A new message from a friend flashed. Party at Jack's tonight. Everyone is coming. You have to be there. She bit her lip and looked at her parents. David was reading the paper, coffee at his side. Lisa was busy at the stove. Yesterday's fight still hung in the air, but Emma decided to push her luck. Dad, she said cautiously, there's a get-together tonight at my friend's place. Just a regular party, no clubs. Can I go? The paper lowered slowly. David raised his eyes, and Emma already knew that look. Stone. Unyielding. No. One word. A hammer blow. Emma's fists tightened under the table. Why? She asked quietly but with an edge. I'm 19. I am an adult. Because I said so, David shot back. Period. Silence filled the kitchen. Lisa turned, looking from her husband to her daughter. She knew, if she stayed quiet, it would end the same as last night. A slammed door and icy silence. David, she intervened, calm but firm. Maybe we should try it differently? He frowned. Differently? You mean letting her go off with a bunch of boys who only think about dragging her in a bed? Emma shot up from her chair. You do not even know them, she yelled. You do not know my friends. You only know your own fear. Her voice shook, but she did not back down. She was sick of living under constant watch. Lisa stepped closer to her husband. Listen. She'll find a way to sneak out if you forbid her. Do you want her lying and sneaking behind your back? It is better if I go with her. I'll be there. I'll keep an eye on things. Emma turned to her mother, hope flashing in her eyes. Really? Lisa nodded. David pressed his lips into a hard line. He looked at his wife, then at his daughter. Rage churned inside him. He felt cornered, Emma pushing on one side, Lisa on the other. Still, the thought of Lisa being there chipped away at his fury. You promise? His voice dropped low and dangerous. You promise, Lisa, that you'll watch her? Yes, she answered calmly. I promise. He glared at her for a few more seconds, then exhaled heavily and muttered, Fine. But if anything happens, it is on you. Emma could not help but smile. Her heart raced. It was a victory. Conditional, but a victory. She hugged her mother and whispered, Thank you. Lisa smiled back, but deep down unease gnawed at her. She was not sure she could keep control of what might unfold. David returned to his paper, but the words blurred. He knew he had given in, and the decision burned him from the inside. That evening Emma got ready. A bright top, jeans, hair down. She looked like a grown woman, and that irritated David even more. "You look too provocative," he said, arms crossed. "It's just clothes, Dad." She waved him off. Lisa touched his arm gently. "It'll be fine," she whispered. But David did not believe in fine. He felt like he was sending his daughter into a pit, and Lisa going with her did not soothe him. It only made it worse. He trusted his wife, but that trust was about to become betrayal. When the door shut behind them, he was left alone. The house was painfully quiet. The ticking of the clock on the wall pounded in his head like a countdown to disaster. Jack's house was packed to the brim. Music pounded so loud the walls vibrated, lights flashing in neon bursts. The air was thick with the smell of alcohol and cheap perfume. Students laughed, danced, stumbled. A few had already passed out on the couch. Emma grabbed her mother's hand and pulled her inside. "Mom, do not look like you at a PTA meeting," she laughed. Lisa forced a smile, but inside she felt out of place. She was over 40, and she knew she looked it. But Emma shone. Her eyes sparkled, her smile stretched wide. That was why Lisa had agreed to come. "Relax," Emma said. "Tonight is just fun." And then she disappeared into the crowd. Lisa lingered by the wall. Someone handed her a plastic cup of bright green cocktail. At first she refused, then accepted. One sip, bittersweet heat spread through her. Another sip, the world felt less hostile. Meanwhile, Emma was already on the dance floor. A tall guy in a white shirt introduced himself as Alex. A couple of years older, confident, with a grin that made her dizzy. His hands gripped her firmly, but not forcefully. "You move great," he whispered in her ear. "Thanks," she replied, and the music drowned out the last of her hesitation. On the other side of the room, Lisa locked eyes with a man. Dark gaze, confident smile. Mid-30s, well-groomed, light stubble. He walked over and offered his hand. "First time here?" he asked. Lisa nodded, taking another sip. Tom." "Lisa," she answered. He guided her to the couch. They started with small talk, music, work, her daughter's college. But the cocktails worked fast. Their laughter grew louder. Their glances lingered longer. Emma lost track of time. Alex pulled her from the dance floor, leading her down a hallway lined with closed doors. She laughed, clinging to his hand. The room smelled of smoke and cologne. He shut the door, and the world shrank to just his eyes. Lisa felt the same not long after. Tom offered another drink. She accepted. Then, softer music, a lamp glowing warm, a closed door. She knew it was a mistake, but each sip drowned her conscience. Inside the dim room, music thudded faintly through the walls. Tom set his glass aside, sat close. Their shoulders touched. She knew she was crossing a line, that David was waiting at home. But reason slipped away. "You're too beautiful to sit here alone," he said, his hand brushing hers. Lisa did not pull away. Her heart raced like she was 20 again. She laughed, let herself be light, carefree, something she had not been in years. He leaned closer. She caught his cologne, his warm breath. Their lips met, and the kiss was long, hot, far too intimate for a woman who had sworn she'd keep an eye on her daughter. Laughter and footsteps in the hall blurred into background noise. Inside the room, everything moved fast. Tom eased her onto the bed. She did not resist. It was as if she'd been craving this forbidden moment, this rush she'd been missing. Each touch was betrayal, yet the alcohol and the fire inside her silenced reason. Her hair tangled on the pillow. Her lips carried the taste of another man. Her chest heaved with the clash of freedom and shame. She closed her eyes, tried to forget who she was, where she was. But David's image pierced her mind like a blade. If he ever finds out, it's over. Still, she did not stop. The bed creaked, dawn broke outside, and Lisa knew this night would never be erased. Emma, in another room, felt something different, new, thrilling, terrifying. For the first time, she let herself chase raw emotion without thinking of consequences. By morning, they would both regret. At home, David was waiting. The first rays of sun slipped through thin curtains. Lisa's head pounded. She opened her eyes and realized she was in a stranger's bed. The pillow smelled of sharp man's cologne, not home. Tom lay beside her, his arm heavy on her waist. She carefully slid out, heart hammering. Memories of the night flickered back. Laughter, dancing, kisses, his breath on her skin. Her stomach dropped. She knew exactly what she had done. What have I done? David's face flashed in her mind. His stern eyes, his trust when he let her take their daughter. The trust was gone now. She grabbed her jacket from the floor, Tom muttering in his sleep, and slipped into the hall. At that moment, Emma stepped out of another room. Hair tousled, lips swollen, eyes glowing. She froze, seeing her mother. For a few seconds they stared at each other. "Mom," Emma whispered. Lisa flushed. Emma knew, and Lisa knew her daughter had not been alone either. "Let us go home," Lisa managed. They walked out together, silent. The morning chill slapped their faces, sobering and painful. Each was lost in her own thoughts. Lisa tried to find words, but there was nothing to say. This night would remain buried. At the curb, David was waiting. He sat in the car, gripping the steering wheel so hard his knuckles whitened. He had not slept. He waited, simmered, listened to the clock tick like a hammer. When they approached, he opened the door. His stare was heavy. "Well, had fun dancing?" he asked coldly. Emma slid into the back seat, turning to the window. Lisa climbed in beside him, feeling his eyes burning into her. "Everything is fine, David," she said quietly. "We just tired." "Tired? At 4 a.m? His tone dripped with sarcasm. She fell silent. Her voice was already too strained. David started the car, and the ride home passed in silence. At the house, Emma vanished into her room. David stayed in the living room. Lisa headed for the kitchen, desperate to distract herself. She set the kettle on, grabbed a mug. Her hands trembled. Minutes later, David walked in. He stood across from her, arms crossed. "You think I am an idiot?" he asked quietly. "What?" Lisa's eyes widened with fear. "You think I do not see it?" She's glowing, like she just rolled out of someone's bed. "And you look the same." The ground seemed to drop under her. "David, stop," she said sharply, but her voice broke. "We had too much to drink, that is all. Nothing happened." His eyes narrowed. "It better be true." He turned and walked away. Lisa stood frozen, mug still empty in her hands. Her mind was chaos. She knew, if the truth surfaced, their family was finished. The only option was silence. Later, she knocked on Emma's door. "Em," she whispered, "we need to talk." "There's nothing to talk about," came the muffled reply. "What happened stays there." Lisa froze. The words carried not just fatigue, but a warning. Emma knew too much. "Please," Lisa tried again. "We have to keep this between us." Silence. Just the rustle of sheets and footsteps. Lisa stepped back. Her fate now depended not only on her choices, but on her daughter's silence. That evening, the three of them sat at the dinner table. David's eyes darted from wife to daughter. Suspicion sharpened with every glance. Lisa forced a casual act, but her every move betrayed her nerves. Emma barely lifted her eyes. David felt it deep down. Something in his house had broken. And this was only the first crack. 2 weeks passed. From the outside, life seemed normal. David went to work, Lisa managed the house, Emma commuted to college. But behind the routine, silence swelled, heavy with secrets, sharp with tension. David knew something had changed. Lisa avoided his eyes, kept her distance. Emma grew colder, defiant, as if guarding a secret he was not allowed to touch. One evening, when Emma was about to go out again, David blocked her in the hall. "Where to?" he demanded, fist tight. "Meeting friends," she muttered, eyes down. "No, you're not going." Her head snapped up. "Again? What are you going to do? Lock me in a cage?" David stepped closer. "As long as you're here, you'll obey. I will not let that night happen again." Emma froze. Panic flickered in her eyes, then vanished under defiance. "You do not even know what happened that night," she whispered. "And thank God you do not." His eyes narrowed. "What did you say?" "Nothing," she muttered, turning away. The words hung between them like a blade. David felt his daughter was playing with him, hiding something. Later, in their bedroom, he told Lisa, "She's slipping away from me. I can feel she's hiding something." Lisa put down her book, met his gaze. "You read too suspicious. She's just growing up." "No," he shook his head. "It's more. She almost said it today." "Said what?" David did not answer. But his certainty hardened. Both his wife and daughter were keeping something from him. Meanwhile, Emma wrestled with her guilt. Every time she looked at her mother, rage boiled. The memory of that night burned inside. She had proof. A video recorded by accident. One of her friends had filmed part of the party. On it, Lisa was clearly visible, laughing, then disappearing into a room with Tom. Emma kept the video, not to show right away, but as a weapon. She knew the moment would come when it would matter. And that moment was coming. The weekend erupted in another fight. Emma wanted to go out. David, absolutely against it. Voices rose, words cut deep. "You do not trust me," Emma screamed. "You never trusted me. Because you still a child," David shouted back. "I would not let you ruin your life." She stomped her foot. "And you wrong to trust Mom." Silence fell instantly. Lisa, standing at the doorway, went pale. "What did you say?" David turned slowly to his daughter. Emma froze. She knew she'd gone too far. "Nothing," she whispered. But the words were out. Lisa's terrified eyes pierced her. Emma looked down and walked past them both. David stood in the middle of the room, feeling something break inside. That night, he could not sleep. Lisa lay beside him, pretending to. He knew she was awake too. His mind replayed Emma's words. "You wrong to trust Mom." He remembered Lisa's face that morning after the party. Her shaky voice. Her excuse. "We were just tired." He believed it then. Now it sounded like a lie. David clenched his jaw. He was sure the truth was close, and he would uncover it. Emma sat in her room, phone in hand. She replayed the video again. Lisa, drunk, laughing, then disappearing into that room with Tom. The camera had caught enough to erase all doubt. It was a ticking time bomb, and Emma knew her father was a man who never forgave betrayal. For the first time, she wondered what would happen to their family if she showed him. Yet deep inside, she knew her mother could not hide forever. The evening began like any other. David came home brooding. Dinner passed in silence. Lisa tried to make small talk, but her words sank in his short replies. Emma sat across from them, poking her food, eyes burning with anger and resolve. Suddenly she dropped her fork, lifted her head, and said, "Dad, I have something to show you." Lisa froze, as if struck. "Emma, do not," she whispered, panic in her voice. But Emma already had her phone out. She opened the video and set it on the table in front of him. "See for yourself." David frowned, picked up the phone. The first seconds looked harmless. Party noise, laughter, music. Then the camera turned, and there was Lisa, his wife, the one who had promised to watch over their daughter, walking down a hallway with another man, laughing too freely, eyes too bold. A door closing behind them, laughter fading inside. "Turn it off," Lisa screamed, lunging for the phone. Too late. David had seen enough. He set the phone down slowly and rose to his feet. His face drained of color, his hands trembled. Is it true?" His voice was low, hoarse. Lisa tried to speak, but her throat closed. "David, it was a mistake. I was drunk. I did not mean, he exploded. His roar shook the house. "You promised. You swore you'd keep her safe." And instead, his fist slammed the table. Dishes rattled, a glass toppled and shattered. "You went to bed with the first man you found, while my daughter was under the same roof." His voice thundered so loud Emma flinched, but did not look away. "David, please, I am guilty, but did not mean anything." Lisa sobbed, stepping toward him. He shoved her hand aside. "Did not mean anything?" He barked out a bitter laugh. "To me it means everything, Lisa. Everything. You destroyed what we built for years." He grabbed a chair and hurled it against the wall. Wood cracked, the crash echoing through the house. You sold my trust for a few cocktails and some stranger S-arms. He screamed. You betrayed me as a wife and as a mother. Lisa covered her face, tears streaming. David, please think. He stepped closer, eyes blazing. You want me to think it was just a mistake? That I can sweep this under the rug? He turned to his daughter. And you? Why show me this? Emma met his gaze steadily. Because you had to know the truth. You always protected me, but you trusted the wrong person. David closed his eyes for a second, chest heaving, fists clenched. Then he faced Lisa again. Get out. What? She whispered. I said get out of my house. He roared, shaking the walls. Now. Lisa rushed toward him, grabbing his arm. Please do not do this. Let us talk. He shoved her back. There's nothing left to say. It's over. His voice tore the air like thunder. You were a stranger to me, Lisa. Nothing more. The words hit harder than a blow. Lisa broke down, sobbing. Emma stood silently, arms folded against her chest. No joy, no pity, just inevitability. She knew this had to happen. David stormed upstairs. Moments later, Lisa's belongings tumbled down the stairs. Bag, clothes, makeup. He hurled them without looking. Pack your things and get out, he bellowed from above. Lisa, shaking, stuffed her things into a suitcase. Tears dripped onto the floor. Emma stayed off to the side, guilt and relief warring inside her. Half an hour later, the front door slammed. Lisa was gone. Silence filled the house, broken only by David's heavy breathing. He stood in the living room, gripping the table, and finally spoke, voice quiet but firm. There will be no more betrayal here. The morning was unnervingly quiet. No footsteps, no clinking dishes, no smell of coffee. David woke early but did not rush to rise. He lay staring at the ceiling, feeling the emptiness. The woman he lived with for 20 years was no longer part of his life. Downstairs, the door shut, Emma leaving for college. He followed, and they met in the hallway. She froze, unsure what to say. Morning, he said softly. Morning, Dad, she answered, offering a faint smile. That smile warmed him. Everything that had torn them apart still left their bond intact. For her, he knew he had reason to keep going. In the days that followed, he moved quickly. Divorce papers were filed in record time. Lisa called, texted, begged to meet, but he never responded. For him, it was finished. The only meeting came at the lawyer's office. Lisa arrived pale, thinner, eyes dim. She tried to speak. David, maybe we can sign. He cut her off, pushing the papers across. Her hand shook as she scribbled her name. UCA not just erase everything like this, she said, pleading. Already did, he replied coldly. You made the choice. She sobbed quietly, but said no more. When she left, the door closed with finality. The house changed. Quieter, calmer. Evenings, David sat with Emma in the living room. They talked more than ever about college, her plans, her future. He tried to be not just a strict father, but someone she could lean on. Sometimes he thought of Lisa, at first with fury, then with nothing at all. Love had burned to ash, leaving only emptiness. One evening Emma asked, Dad, do you hate me for showing you that video? He looked at her for a long time, then answered firmly, No, you saved me from a lie, maybe from a life spent with a traitor. Emma sighed in relief. I just thought maybe it made things worse. Worse? He gave a bitter chuckle. Worse than living with a woman who betrayed her family? No, Emma, you did the right thing. He pulled her into a hug. At that moment, he realized he'd lost a wife, but kept his daughter. That was what mattered. A month later, Lisa was gone from their lives completely. No calls, no texts. She moved in with a friend, then rented her own place. Their paths split for good. The court finalized the divorce. As the judge read the formalities, David thought only one thing. It's over. There was no we anymore. Only him and Emma. Walking out of the courtroom, he felt a strange relief. Not victory, but freedom. That evening, he sat on the porch with a mug of tea. Emma joined him, sitting close. It's behind us, he said. Yes, she nodded. They sat in silence, watching the sunset. The red sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in fire. David thought it was fitting, one day ending, another certain to come. He looked at his daughter and added quietly, "You re my future. And I'll never let it be destroyed." Emma smiled and leaned against him. And that is how their story ended. No pretty words, no attempts to patch the past. David drew a bold, final line. His wife was gone for good. The house was cleansed of betrayal. What remained was only truth, cold but honest. And truth is always better than living a lie. And that's where today's story ends. Thank you for watching to the end. If you enjoyed it, do not forget to like and comment. We'd love to discuss this story with you. See you in the next video.